Hello, everybody. Y'all look really familiar. So welcome to this session. This session is all about the lessons that we've learned in preparing for the last several eclipses in the US. And so I want to do a little bit of introduction about just framing this, and then we have a handful of speakers that will tell you about their journey through preparing for eclipses. We've had basically 3 eclipses in the last decade, 2 total and 1 annular. And the 2017 eclipse was going to be a really big deal because it was the first one in a really long time. And even then, the eclipse that had happened prior to that in the US was only in one tiny corner. So it was really important for us to pull things together, get people prepared, understand all of the things that were going to happen on the eclipse day and in the run-up to it. From that point of view, what we're trying to do now is collect the lessons we've learned along the way, because the next eclipse on the contiguous US is in 2044. There is an eclipse in Alaska, but I'm not worrying about that one. But there is an eclipse in 2044. That one just touches Montana. But then there's one in 2045 that goes all the way across. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I plan to be retired by then. And so part of the point is to make sure that the people who are planning for that next eclipse can take advantage of everything that we've learned along the way in the last decade. So what's my role in this? Well, there's a couple of ways of answering that. First of all, when I started my first faculty position in 2002, I moved to Missouri, and Columbia, Missouri was on the path of totality for 2017. When I arrived in 2002, the local amateur astronomers were like, "You've got to be ready for this!" It's like, it's in 15 years. They already had T-shirts. And so it was something that was on my radar right away, but I wasn't worried about it too much. But then I was elected to the AAS Council, so it's now a board of trustees. It used to be a council, same thing. That was in 2011. And so I'm kind of prodding in the council meetings to have us make sure that the AAS is playing a role. So I'm rotating off, this is exactly 10 years ago. It's the summer meeting is when the council or board of trustees changes hands. So exactly 10 years ago, I'm rotating off of the AAS council, and the then president was, "Okay, yes, we should definitely have a task force. You can chair it, now you're not a councillor anymore." And that's how I ended up the chair of, of the Solar Eclipse Task Force. At the time, there was also some stuff that was going on that the council didn't know that was kind of happening in the background. So I had another person, Shadia Habal, who is a heliophysicist, who helped co-chair that. And we built a task force. And several of the people in the room now who've been on the task force have been on the task force all along, and some of you are newer. But over the next 3 years, we, I think, did a pretty good job of pulling things together, but we learned some lessons. And we were able to then try and apply them to 2024. Unfortunately, there's something that happened in the intervening 7 years. And so right about the time when we should have been really ramping up, the entire world shut down. And so we ended up starting a little late. But I think that means we've got more lessons learned. There are more things that we've figured out. We know that we should all start earlier, but sometimes that's not, not possible. And so hopefully what you're going to hear from are people who have been intimately involved with the AAS's Solar Eclipse Task Force, either on the task force itself or intimately involved, about what things you can use going forward, what knowledge we want to make sure doesn't disappear along the way. I'm going to leave it at that because there's a whole bunch of people with great expertise to share with you, but I will be doing the introductions.